What's up, guys? Now, before you skip through the video, I just want to remind you that I do have the Discord open. You can find the link below in the description. If you're not already in the Discord, now's your chance. Doing it out of the 100th day celebration. And if you do end up liking this kind of content, show some support if you want to comment anything or like the video. That does help out. Mostly because when I do gameplay or content progressional videos, but it doesn't seem like people want to see that. It only seems like they want to watch the pulls or whatever else is going on with the game. So if you guys do like this kind of content and still want to see the progression, show some love for that. But now let's head into Tower of Trial. So the beginning showed me at the 897k power, but you're going to first see me start off at about 890k. I just didn't have any kind of footage that did stay on that. And I will say that this Tower of Trial was not something that we could just blow by, and that I feel like I kind of underestimated. But it is extremely difficult. I will definitely say that I expected to push a lot higher than I originally did, and you're going to see a lot of difficult compositions. It's not really until maybe the first 10-15 stages in that you'll notice you probably need a Yuraha, or you just can't get that done. And especially with the current Destiny summon, I'm just going to remind you guys to wait. We don't know what this week's events are going to be until Tuesday, and you still have about 2 more event cycles after that. They might give some other unit for free, they might add someone else to the blue pool, you might get lucky with legendary pulls, there might be a completely new character, we might even get bond skills going. The possibilities are endless right now. So just don't rush into Destiny summons unless you think you can get immediate progression. Sachi is probably still at the top of that list. And Yuraha is at the top of that list if you can get her T6. Otherwise, quite a few things you can do with ignition weapons. I'm going to go into it further, but you're going to see here, I was trying to mess around with as much units as I can. Finally had Orek T6, and I was using him in Quan stages, or certain stages where I thought that the initial taunt would work out really well. And I will say it didn't really make much of a difference. But overall, I feel like getting... This was actually before Viol even having the T6 ignition weapon. This was all before the Destiny summon was even a thing. So you're going to see here a lot of difficult stages. Hansung, still one of the best units you can have. White is still our best damage dealer. We do have hopes of maybe Elaine coming out as the next carry before Enryu dropping, maybe in July at the earliest is what I'm assuming. Albelda, still very good, but you're going to see that this team right here is pretty much the standard crowd control setup that I was going to have. That was working out the best for me. If it was possible to lock down the team, I was going to use Hansung and Yuraha together with Viol and just praying to God for the carries. This stage 311, I feel like certain stages here with Viol and Hansung in the early 310s was very, very difficult. It really went down to the wire, and do expect to have a ton of RNG involved. I know for the higher stages, it took me 30 minutes of non-stop retries to even an hour, and a lot of it has to do with accuracy checks. That's why if you are failing a lot of stages and you're seeing very low hits, a lot of misses, try getting some extra accuracy. You can do it through God's Inventory, or if you want a huge amount of accuracy, get a better weapon, get some refines going. Kuraka was also surprisingly good for Tower of Trial, and he's also a unit that you just pretty much need maxed out or you're not going to see use of him. I didn't use Kuraka as much as I wanted to in Tower of Trial, mostly because I figured out something else later on, but I think he would have been the big key to getting 350 done in the first week that it was out, was to have Kuraka T6, because that was before White Candy and the Destiny summons and all that was going on. It's also very important that for the future probably have to craft a legendary piece of equipment for White if he's your current carry, or Enryu, that's going to have accuracy as the main stat if it's possible, and then refine 2 extra accuracies. Just because I wish I could have a full accuracy equipment for these progression stages. What I wanted to go into more in depth about is that I feel like Global's releases are very orchestrated and very calculated. So right now they're doing like a linear progression scale, but it seems to me like they're pretty much making Tower of Trial come out and actually require you to get the newest units. That's the reason why I feel like if you were trying to get up to 350, you couldn't have done it without Karaka unless you were severely overpowering everything. And even the players with 1 million power kind of struggled in the last few stages, and it's just not a possibility. So you can expect that every time a new unit comes out, even Kranos Yuriha received a buff. Any unit that was pretty bad in Korea probably going to get a buff so that they're usable and that they have an actual place in Global for it. If you notice, Global has been getting so many quality of lives that Korea doesn't even have. Then it later gets translated to Korea. So the game is pushing to at least be 1 month behind Korea, and it's trying to pretty much not make the same mistakes. I feel like they learned their lesson with Korea. Now they have a completely different schedule. They're going to try and keep every single unit level-headed, keep them balanced out, give a purpose to every single one so that they're not just a skip. And that's kind of why we're going towards the FOMO route, where they're going to make you want to pull for every single unit, have every single unit. But the key is, if they're not maxed out, if they're not Transcend 6, they're probably still not good enough. So for anyone saving and trying to hold on and be resourceful, save for Enryu and Garam if you don't have White and Albelda maxed out. You might want to go for the dupes when they rerun. But just don't cave in to these banners. You don't want to give in, because you could pull this week and they might drop something new next week, and it's a horrible, horrible thing to deal with. But these stages were nuts. Completely in over my head from the beginning. I would say that at least getting at least up to this stage is relatively easier than it was towards the later stages. But it was getting to this point, around 319. I realized it was just getting really, really hard. I just kind of kept slowing down, started requiring more and more stages, and that's when I kind of figured that I wasn't going to commit to 350 on the first day, because everything you're seeing right now is pretty much the first day of Tower Trial, and I just could not spend a whole day of 30-minute to 1-hour attempts per stage to try and push. And that's even if I could have gotten to 350, which I don't think I could have. So this stage 319 was the last stage I stopped at, because when I tried to go through 320, it was not working out. So you're gonna see this, not sure when this was, but I ended up doing a little bit of powering up. And that little bit of powering up ended up allowing me to progress even more. And it was just a pretty much turning point, I would say. This is still not in the current week of events, so this was a little bit later, but I went back into it, get a little bit more power, a little bit more accuracy. God's Inventory, every single stat's going to add up. And relics, I would definitely say to check into your relics and switch things around. I'll do an overview of my account progression and where I'm at towards the end of the video, just to give everyone a sense of it. But oh my god, these Ron stages, there was so many stages that are just rough. Keep in mind you want to level up your Fate skills. I wish I really had some advice for Tower of Trial to make it easier on everyone, but unfortunately that is just not a thing. It's about your power, about your level, about your accuracy, and it's about your unit composition as well as the transcendence of these units. So only thing you can do is just keep trying every single day. There might be one day you're stuck on this stage, you could be stuck on it for a single week even, but you never know. The next day you try to retry that stage, you might be able to clear it. It's funny how it works. The game just sometimes makes it very easy for you to clear, other times makes it seem like it's impossible. It is really tiresome, and it just really drags out to be spending 30 minutes to an hour on a single stage just to clear the progression. That's why I was not too fussed about going for 350 on one day. I think only 3 people cleared 350 on the first day. Even at the point where I was at, I think I was number 10 to clear it. And that's almost been a whole week into it. So it is very difficult. I can only imagine that these later stages from 350 to 400 will start having Yurahas, maybe even white in the comps, and it's going to be even harder for that. So here I was able to get quite the lucky break and started pushing the 326. Urex stages were so hard too, and Quant with Xiao Xiao, I mean, every single stage was just stacked. I wish beta in these stages was how beta normally is. Then we can actually have a good use out of him. Then I got to this Quant stage, and yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, you have the Guardian boss raid characters in some of these compositions. Most of the stages you're going to see revolves around either Sachi or Hansang for the CC. If I needed the extra burst, the extra damage, I had to go Sachi. But this was a turning point. So 328 gave me so much trouble. Now, I am including my administrator trial scores just so you can get a grasp of where I was in this video, because you're going to see everything will drastically change throughout the video. So this was also a little bit further. I don't know if this is still white candy time. Maybe this might be it. I'm not really sure. If I think about it, it's been 2 weeks for 350 then. Because it would have been Karaka as the research journal anyway. So this might be around white candy's time. And it is quite the adventure. So you can see here, I decided to start messing around with this. And I was like, wow. You know, started putting in white candy for the extra CC, and I did not expect it, but having Yuraha with white candy, all the stuns, all the silences, all the crowd control effects, even viols was getting ridiculous at this point. And that was a turning point for me. So it made me realize, wow, you know, I originally thought maybe white candy was kind of a silly thing to get at this time, but you're going to see I was using him more than Karaka. I feel like if this was a week before then, I would have been using Karaka until the end, trying to RNG my way through. But you're going to see white candy here. His stun was coming in so clutch. The amount of crowd control I had with this team was working out wonderfully. I just didn't get a chance to benefit off him because he does boost Great Family. 332 was another horrendous stage. This stage took me like at least 30 minutes plus. And 328, I'd say, was such a wall. Like that Enoch stage was ridiculous. Like I could not believe it. I was literally, you know, even if I was letting this run by itself and looking at it on another monitor while I'm doing something else, I was just like, wow, like it's crazy to me how I would either get very close or not close at all. And it really just takes the perfect RNG, whether all your crowd control effects take into effect and they all work, or they just don't work and then you're in for a torment. I know everyone is still waiting for Joaquin, and we really don't know when he's going to come out. I know it's a joke that he's going to get his own limited banner and probably require red pulls, but I would believe that at this point, because either he gets a nerf and he's not better than the actual event units, or legendaries I should say, or they're going to have to drop him very, very, very late, because we're still going to get a bunch of tanks. We get Eri and Yato probably in the next few months, and then Heljo right before Enryu, and I think Heljo is like a must-have. I don't see people talking about him, but he is ridiculous because he gives all teammates a defense increase in Tower of Trial. So if you combine that with like Summer Yon, it's just like ridiculous. Plus he has a taunt and he has damage absorption, which is the first unit to have that. So I feel like Heljo is like the best tank in the game, but I don't have the gameplay or experience or use of him to really know for myself if he's that good. And plus the rewards from Tower of Trial are amazing, you know, getting all this gold. So at this point I was at 936k power. This was at the point where I think I went through a majority of my power-ups. So I was going in pretty hard, trying to min-max, get as much stats as I could. because I was dedicated to get my progression clear. I want to at least be ahead of the curve. I'm trying to finish everything that I possibly can before they expand it. So this is where it became a nightmare. Every single stage after 340, pretty much an RNG wall. So we have another Enoch stage, and this one was, I think, better than 328. Still extremely hard. You can see here, this perfect RNG made it look so easy. But there's a lot of the times where no units were surviving in the first minute or two. And it was a horrible experience. So from here on out, next level stuff required. You need very high power. You need extreme luck. I know people on the clear info leaderboards for Tower of Trial that were probably 100k power less than me, for at least one person or two, and they managed to clear these stages, which I was in disbelief, because they either had all the accuracy set up in the world to do that and the RNG, or they just had ridiculous RNG enough to win a lottery ticket. Sion stage, it's like crazy to look back, and I do wish I had a better way to kind of do progression, but it takes, no joke, I've had 110 gigabytes of videos for this whole video. That's about 37 videos, and I'd say I record every single video about 20 to 30 minutes at a time. So you're seeing about 1,000 minutes cut down into this gameplay video, and gameplay videos take more out of me than anything I can do with this game. That's why, as much as I'd like to have real commentary, live commentary going on, or have actual things to talk about instead of just narrating, I really don't know what to do, guys. You know, if you guys can think of a better way. I know that people don't like to just see music and then just things getting killed, or putting things at supersonic speed at like 500%. Just, you know, you're getting like an epilepsy attack just by watching the video. So this is the best thing I could come up with. A lot of really tanky units. Over there you saw with that robot tank, at least. That's where my accuracy was just failing. But thank God Albelda was keeping me alive. Honestly, I wasn't getting the good use out of Urek like I expected. I really thought that T6 Urek would be so good. I'm kind of glad I didn't Destiny card him in the past, because he was not doing better than Jinsung most of the time. I feel like every stage I used him in, I could have probably used Jinsung. But I was trying to get variety, trying to get content in the end. I was trying to use different teams, different units, try to get whatever to work, so I could at least showcase every single unit. But at the end of the day, White Candy was just the MVP. I mean, he was surprising me in a good way. Still wondering what's gonna happen as the next release. I mean, I swear, if we have another new unit next week, and this video is expecting to drop on Sunday, after a few days of being worked on, I'll be quite shocked. You know, one new unit, cool. 2 units in a row, okay, that's like crazy. 3 in a row is insane. If they do a 4th unit right now, I just cannot. I will be in shambles, alright? Like, we need a break. We need reruns to happen for all the other units in the blue banner. We just need peace, quiet, you know, give us out some free summons and just let us relax. But here, oh my god, 350, guys. This stage took me over an hour of RNG. You're gonna see it. I don't even know how I passed it, but the RNG just lined up perfectly, and that's like literally the summary of every single stage. I mean, you don't even have to see the gameplay. I'm pretty much just showing you guys the content so you can live through me. For those that might not get to this stage for a very long time, you get to see it completed on my behalf. It was nuts. 350 was the craziest stage ever. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into story. So we're at 14-8. This was the Joaquin stage initially, and I will say that it was a lot easier this time around, but I waited till I super powered up, so everything at this point was when my account was 937k. And I must say, I don't want to do it without that kind of power, because yeah, this is the closest thing we have to actually experiencing Joaquin in the game right now. And he's just a straight up menace. Now, I would say that 14-8 is probably the only wall in chapter 14, but at the same time, Everything is really subjective and dependent on your account progression and what units you have. Now, I wanted to keep talking and commentating as well as rambling throughout the story section of the video, but I feel like it is way too much to really try to cram into this, especially since I don't want to repeat myself and waste everyone's time with that. So I will just have the timestamps throughout the story, and I will just point out that my default team was pretty much having Ginseng as a tank, Viol, Uraha for the crowd control, Albelda for the sustain, and White for the carry. You'll probably see me change my team maybe once or twice throughout the upcoming parts, as I believe 14-8 was the only wall for me in this chapter. There was one stage in 15 with Daniel and Joaquin, and I think chapter 16 had one stage that might have just needed a retry or two. So there wasn't too much going on. It's just going to be a continuation of gameplay with the cutscenes included, just because I thought maybe if you guys wanted to see what the future story is and how the gameplay plays out. So I'm going to just resume the rest of this with music, and you will end up seeing a continuation of the narration when we actually get into the overview after all the progression in this video. So stay tuned, guys. Otherwise, you can check the description for the timestamps, skip through to whichever chapter you want to see, or if you just want to see the final conclusion of the video. So guys, we're now in the present. This is after all the progression that you can possibly do. Story is done, Right Spot is up to date, and Tower of Trial is up to date. So I was able to get up to 947k power. Level 221 from everything. And I will say that it does take a ton of power for actually get through all the content right now. The biggest thing is having units T6. And I do want to just do a quick overview of everything. So, unit-wise, we need a lot of T6. From the units I've been using a lot, I would say White Heavenly Mirror, going to be up there probably. A knock is for the future with bond skills, but she's also has her niches with the knock tech in certain Tower of Trial stages. Sachi by far the MVP of everything. Bong Bong has been insane for my administrator trial damage. Jinsung is the best tank I have. White is the best carry I have by far, almost 200k power on him. Ansong's has been key for a lot of the crowd control, and the best thing with him is you don't need to have him transcended. Byron has been amazing as well for these utility and support. Evan has made appearances when I needed more healers. Uraha, definitely a necessity in this point in the game with the 60% as well as Transcend 6. Albelda, probably the best support that the game's ever going to have. And White Candy, surprisingly, has really done a lot for me in Tower of Trial, so that's been a great surprise. Ignition weapons, it really does make a difference to have a T6 weapon, or even a 2-3. But I would say to just try to tough it out with the family weapons. Even though they do make a difference, I feel like you can just get by with just having the ignition skill unlocked. You don't really need the extra effects. Gear-wise, I am working on a lot. I am trying to get every single legendary weapon for every family, for physical as well as magic. And I do want to get 60% on everything. Eventually I have to fix this, but probably won't do that until I get another one or craft a second one, which I don't want to do. And I am only going to work on the tower climber equipment as well as the fog one. So I do have these ready, which I don't think were shown anywhere before then. Fates will stay the way they are. I'm just pretty much going for all 25s at this rate, just to boost the units that I'm currently using, and I am prioritizing legendaries before epics or heroes, just because I'm not using any of the purple units and I'm only using legendaries. Shinsu reinforcement I feel like is one of the worst power functions in the game. It does make this like stats will add up, but it is just so ineffective for the cost. It uses up too much gold. The flowers aren't even the issue. It's just way too much gold for such small stat gains. I mean, you can see what 450 Fisherman gets you. It gets me 98 attack. And the amount of millions that it takes for this is like ridiculous right now. So I will keep prioritizing Fisherman and Wave Controller. And then just keep making sure that I meet the minimums of Shinsu. I know Korea doesn't have a cap, but for us we do. Otherwise I would just be putting everything into Fisherman and Wave Control the way I've been doing it. But for now I'm holding off. I'll let my flowers stack up. I have other things I need to use my gold for. God's Inventory is something I've been working on recently. I did get Tower Climber to level 11. Got Kranos to level 12. Thorn is at level 14 and Wing Tree is level 11. Also, the 100-day badge is very overpowered. So it lasts for 100 days, and it gives all your units a 2% attack speed with the plus 20 attack itself. So if you have $1, I would say you definitely want to get this. I mean, for 100 days of 2% attack speed, that's a pretty crazy buff, even if it is a limited one. Did go over the ignition weapons before, and my only plan, this is what I'm going to talk about at least, but for Destiny summons, I don't know, I got caught up in the moment, not realizing that, I guess for some reason that it was stuck in my head that I thought I could only get the 100 or whatever limited amount of Destiny summons, and I couldn't really get and pull into it more. Realizing that now, I think I would have probably not done the Viol choice at all. Would have just used my Blacksmith's card for him or Huayron. And I would have put Sachi's weapon for Destiny Summon. Only because his damage is ridiculous right now. So him getting more attack speed with the tier 6 would probably be the best choice I could have done. And to also go into it, right now he's getting a 19% damage boost, but he would be getting a 30% with T6, so I feel like I kind of screwed up. There's no way for me to get Sachi's weapon maxed out now. Viols, I could have just pulled the one weapon at any time, or maybe the next season pass next week has the Blacksmith Destiny card. So I kind of feel like I fumbled that, honestly. Could have definitely waited. Now we can't switch that banner out, unfortunately. The only thing I could do is hope that maybe Sachi gets a banner to pull on. But I think that's what Destiny summons are going to be for. And unless I get really lucky now, probably not going to get him T6 until, I'm assuming Anak and Rock's Fate skills and Bond skills are in effect. And at that point, he's going to be pretty much replaced. Hideout wise, so it's key to get this upgraded, but it's going to be a passive thing. But I did switch my relics, so I was using all attack speed relics, and I thought it was great. Turns out it's not as good as this. So the most overpowered relic that you pretty much need to have is the Fluxus Scout relic. And the name itself does not matter. It could be a scout, but it's going to affect your whole team and every character you have. You don't have to worry about the names, but you have to worry about what they actually do. So this one pretty much recovers your Shinsu gauge when using a skill 6 times. And it's very good because this is what allows you to get your ignition up even faster in fights and allows you to ignite more. So you definitely need to get the Flux Scout relic. You need this relic, 100%. It's going to increase your damage in admin and King's Order in every single stage pretty much. I'm also using the Fisherman relic just to get the damage boost. I'm expecting it to be beneficial, otherwise you could probably just put Lightbearer. Get yourself a 2% damage resistance. But I'm just trying to get as much damage as I can out here. And then we have the Fisherman relic for this, which just increases attack speed. So I'm currently working on getting all of them green and then blue. It's not really working out. So to think that I could have actually gotten a really good relic from the purple one. And just used it regardless of everything, but it is what it is. That's the gacha life. And then I guess we can go into the Tower of Challenge stuff. So this is what I'm saving up for. I have 26 keys. I'm about to get the 27th and just 3 more regular tower keys. I'm really refusing to go into this habitat because the chance for blue eggs is ridiculously low. So I am expecting the middle area to come out in a month's time at least, if not maybe in the next 2 weeks, hopefully. But even if it does come out, I don't think I could clear the whole thing. I feel like if I can at least get the next area to rid of 5, I'll still take that over this one because, you know, if it does get rid of the commons, which it probably doesn't, at least it opens up getting purples as a possibility. And I'd much rather get that chance because I would expect you to get the greens at least of a higher chance than you do everything else in that next stage. And I do want to just go over the rankings real quick. So this is where it gets really important. So power wise, I am trying to slow down in this game, but I think I'm going to try to slow down after I hit 1 million power. So for now, I'm just not really going to stop. The goal is to really hit 1 million. So far, we have 3 people that all hit 1 million. And it does take an insane amount to get 1 million. I feel like I'm hard stuck right now. Not really much more I can do. But you can see here, I am rank 11. And yesterday I was rank 9, so the power scale just keeps changing. Everything really fluctuates and randomizes. But the thing to look at is, power-wise, I'm 11. But if you look at level, I'm 26. And that's the issue. That is pretty much what is stopping me from having much higher power, much higher ranking at the level. Because if I compare myself to the rank 1 or the top 3 or 4, I'm level 221 and they're 239, 238, 237. That is a lot of power because you can estimate it at least one level gives you 1000 power. Might be a little bit more. So I am at least missing out on 19,000, 18,000 power, whatever it could be, and maybe even a little more than that. So if I had those levels, I would be sitting at about 967k power, which still would only put me at rank 8. But level is huge, because that's your progression, that's your accuracy as well. And that's a huge chunk of power that I'm missing. That would put me so much closer to 1 mil. Unfortunately, I cannot rush levels. The only way to try and catch up with the levels is to do immediate clears 10 times a day. It costs about 1,000 to 1,200 diamonds. It is not worth it, because I'm going to be getting 2% XP every single time. So the best I could do is for about 1,200 diamonds a day, I'll catch up 22%. Or 20% even. No, it'll be a little bit over that. But you get the point. It'll take me 5 days of spend. It would spend me 5,000 diamonds to catch up a level once a week. And that is just not worth it. That's like ridiculous to me. The only other hope is that if they keep the level cap at 250, which they probably wouldn't. I feel like the second someone hits 250, they're going to rush out the level cap update. But if they kept the level cap update at 250, then eventually I can catch up in levels. Because even if they're dropping new content and progression and I'm clearing it, everyone else is going to be progressing too, so I can only get so much out of it. But levels, I'm really far behind. That's mostly because I started the game maybe like a week or two later than everyone else. So that's a really big issue. Now, besides level, I know I am missing power in ancient species. I think they, over 1 million, started to get purple pets. And I know that if I use all 20-something keys, I will definitely be able to get these pets, or at least some of them built up, but the problem is the gold cost. So if you have to go from a common to a green, it's 2 million. Then it's going to be 4 greens, which will be 8 million if you don't have any. It'll be 7 million to go up to blue. And then to go up to a purple is 18 million with 4 blue. So it starts getting ridiculously expensive. And I did have like 200 million gold at one point, but I've been investing into gears and God's inventory and God knows what, that I don't have this. But if I was to go for purple pets, the 1200 HP from this would give you a huge power boost. HP inflates, it's like an inflatable stat. Having flat base stats like attack and defense is much more better and actually more beneficial. Because you could have a ton of HP and just be like a sponge, but you could still get hit for a ton of damage if you don't have damage resist and defense. But HP gives a huge amount of power. The defense from here is a very small increase, will give a little bit of power. Another HP boost will be a huge amount of power. Attack boost is very small, wouldn't be much. Defense again, and crit. Now, the best thing is I'd be able to get sockets finally. And that will just improve whatever I choose to put in. I'd probably try to get something for white in there, just to either boost his damage or whatever goes on. You know, this way you could get like a PvP element. But at least with these two pets, I feel like I'd want to rush these. And I could actually get the pumpkin, because I can craft 2 of these. That'll bring me up to 8. And then I make 2 more blues, but that's gonna cost a lot. Like that's 4 mil right here. Then it's gonna be another 14 mil, so that's 18 mil in total. And then I'm gonna do another 18 mil, so that's 36 million just to get this. And I'm expecting it to maybe be a 4 to 5k power increase. But if I could do that for both of these, then I think that's about 10k power right there. Then the only other way to get power is God's inventory, and believe me, it is very minuscule. HP stats would be probably the way to go, but it takes a lot of materials, a lot of gold. The transcension is more difficult than anything. I mean, I could just target all HP stuff, but I am trying to balance it out, and you're mostly wanting it for the family level effect, because the attack speed that you're starting to get from these is really helpful. And then I think the third and only other way to really get some proper power is to get units to level 30. But the problem is I wouldn't get them to 30 until I get every single unit to 25. At least all the legendaries. I think legendaries make sense. All the heroes could probably stay. But finally, when you're going to 25 to 30 mark, it starts giving you stats. You get attack, evasion, crit damage boost, debuff accuracy, and damage boost percentage. So that would give you a little bit of power. But the problem is you see how much Fate Affinity it costs. I mean, it's from 700k to 1 million. It's also 50 starlights. So it's gotten very, very hard to get power right now. I feel like I'm really stagnant. I could always finish and level up skills, get skills to level 20. But, you know, I've gotten Sachi's passive to 20 recently, and it didn't really give him too much of a damage boost to my team. It didn't really give me much of a power boost. I can always level up skills, but they're also getting really expensive. I mean, the amount of books that it takes to get a 20 skill plus gold is crazy. So I will say I'm trying to just take it slow right now, because I really feel like it's just the levels that is holding me back. I would be so much more power if I just had the levels. And I don't even care about competing. I just want to hit 1 million for myself, because I'm right there. And Korea is starting to hit 2 million. Having a few people in 2 million, so eventually the goal will be 2 million, but not really in a rush. I mean, this game is gonna be slow paced. The last thing to just go over is the administrator damage. So I did make a bunch of adjustments. I did do a lot of power ups, and finally able to hit 150 in red. So that lets me get all the rewards. And Sentinel, I'm clearing 168 million. So the cap is 150. Now, White Armored Eel, I haven't done it yet since my last changes and power-ups. So I expect tomorrow, when I do this on Sunday, I should be pushing over 110 million. Maybe 115, 120 million at best. But White Armored Eel is still the most difficult and hardest thing push for. For me, can't really use Yon. Ron surprisingly is doing better than Bong Bong in this one for me. But yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill. I feel like without the rock and a knock bond skill, I probably can't cap out 150 mil. But I would definitely think that Red Armored Eel is the one to consider for me. I think that's the most important one. It's a lot more rare to just get one weapon than, you know, 4 armor pieces at the end of the day. But that's the pretty much account update for you guys that were interested and cared. There was a 350 Tower of Trial pack. I did get that. Got me some legendary dupe because I already have every legendary T6. I can't even. It's kind of pointless, I guess, for me to get those packs that give a legendary, but I'm stacking up Shinsu souls. And then on top of that, there was a level 220 pack that I got, which just, I don't even know, it probably gave starlights. Wasn't really worth it. I did it anyway. So my goal right now, take things slow, try to push for 1 mil. Gotta catch them all like Pokemon. And pretty much starlights, I think. I think like only packs I prioritize is starlights. Stack up reds for the future. I'm back up to 144 reds, and I have 124,000 diamonds. So I do have a lot to go. I really wish, like, God, I wish I could just get this changed. Like, now I regret Thorn because I could have gotten Sachi's weapon. But I really, really wish I could change that. So I'm gonna just go through the blues at the end here. Try to see if I can get any kind of luck going towards the end of the video for you guys. I'm gonna finish it off with a legendary. And of course, I get him T6, and now he's gonna fucking rain everywhere. That's how it is though, guys. I mean, I wasn't getting any Sachis, and then the second I got Sachi maxed out, I started pulling him a bunch of times. And now it's just how it is. I got Ron maxed after not pulling him for like a month or two straight. And then guess what? Now he's everywhere, so. That's all for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Till next week, live Moss and stay free to play.